Welcome to a special installment of the Evolution Exchange podcast. Today I'm joined by Simon and Marina to discuss the topic of Vision Pro and exploring the future of technology. Before we delve deeper into the topic, we'll work our way around the room with some introductions. Marina, would you like to kick us off?
Hi, yes. My name is Marina. I work for a company called Bontouch, which is a software development agency based originally from Sweden, but I'm actually based in the United States, where I am the head of product for Bontouch in the US. I have a background in business design and marketing, and during my career I had the opportunity to work with really large companies such as IKEA, 3M, and Ericsson.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. She's taken a couple of flights to be with us today, so really do appreciate it. And Simon?
Yeah, my name is Simon. And I'm working, and I'm an iOS developer or principal iOS engineer at Shape, and I've been here for 7 years, give or take, something like that. Been working with many of our clients here in Denmark. Nordisk Film, TV2, many others.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us again. Shape's the host. Fantastic place, and thank you to Alanis in the background with all his wonderful camera equipment. Now we've established, context around each of your work to go into the topics that we've kind of discussed around Vision Pro. Mm-hmm. The first topic, of course, is the use cases. It's a big talking point, and I don't know who wants to kick us off, but I suppose what are the most compelling cases for the Vision Pro and the iOS context of the whole Apple sphere? I don't know if you would like to kick us off on this one, Simon.
Yeah, sure. I think it's a great question because just in preparation of this, I was just rewatching Apple's intro video. That's like a 10-minute long video where they're demoing the Vision Pro, just to remind myself what they're kind of presenting as the use case. There's only really one, and then some that are a little half-assed maybe. That's media consumption. Basically, it's like 10 minutes of this is how you can watch cool videos on your $3,500 headset. I'm pretty sure there's more than that, but that's like the number one use case right now, at least if you ask Apple. Then of course they also dive in a little bit to the health, this meditation, what's it called? The app, the mindful, mindful app with the mindfulness health aspect of things, and then they touch a little upon productivity, but it's not a lot. But that seems like the three verticals that Apple is focusing on right now, and then we'll have to see what developers and companies do with it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's, as you said, 4 use cases: health, entertainment, productivity, and then there is a fourth one that actually you haven't mentioned, but I think it's worth mentioning, which is gaming. I think Apple went, but actually I think it's in a way a good miss, because I think Apple went to great lengths to actually not associate their headsets with gaming. And I think we're going to talk about it a little bit more later today, but at the same time, if you watch the keynote, the one that they just had in September, right? They talked about gaming a lot, and like they've announced a lot of exciting partnership and new products. And even though it's not really known, Apple does make a lot of money from gaming, and I think it makes sense that they would want to delve deeper into this space, while at the same time not positioning their headset as a gaming device.
Yeah.
But I guess the future will tell.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're not talking a lot about the gaming aspect in the material that you can find on Apple.com, right? Yeah. Which seems to differentiate them a lot from competitors, which mostly talks about gaming.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I'm sure that's like a conscious decision to leave that out. But also, I'm kind of thinking if it's also a limitation of the way that they built the hardware or the interactions with it, where you're only using your hands and your eyes, which is in contrast to the others which have controllers. And I'm a little unsure if for gaming to really be a thing on a hardware like that, if controllers are needed.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. I think I guess it would probably be an expansion of mobile gaming, right? Which already has a sort of more limited range of interactions when gaming, but who knows?
Sure. But I'm just thinking like one of the biggest games in VR right now is Beat Saber. That seems to be on everyone's mind when you talk about gaming in VR. And I'm unsure if a game like that is possible without the controllers. If the input is precise enough. I don't know.
I see what you mean. We'll need to teach it and learn.
Sure. I mean, I hope we can use it for gaming.
No, I meant like what I assume. Now I think we're going down a little bit of a rabbit hole.
Probably.
You know, I think Apple Vision Pro is based a lot on machine learning and learning from how we move in space. And as soon as this will hit the market, it's gonna get better. And therefore, I think in the future this will open up opportunities for gaming to be exclusively sort of limb based. Can you say that?
Limb based gaming. I like that.
It's got a ring to it. We've talked on the 4 different pillars there that you say about where the possible use cases are. From a more hypothetical standpoint, then, what excites you about the potential applications of where this could go? You know, perhaps within those areas.
I think just to put an asterisk here, like the four pillars we mentioned, it's also just in terms of use cases that are somewhat meaningful for consumers. I think if we touch upon the business aspect, there are whole other use cases that make sense. But I feel I'm diverting from your question. What was that again?
No, it's just what excites you personally about where this could go, the application of, if we're looking at it from a consumer perspective, what specifically aspect?
Yeah, sure. I think the productivity angle is quite interesting. There's some interesting technology there that I'm excited to try out at some point, where I can like put on the headset, look at the screen of your Mac, and then have that projected into a bigger screen in virtual reality or mixed reality or this immersive space. I think that's quite exciting from a productivity angle, where when these different hardware devices kind of work together to create some new experiences. I think that's going to be a bit exciting as a consumer.
Definitely.
I totally agree, and I think this whole space of like ambient computing, spatial computing, and how you can really be immersed in something is going to make a huge difference for productivity, especially now that work is more distributed, there are more distractions, people have focus issues because social media, and let's not go down that rabbit hole because that would take forever. But I think the opportunities are very exciting. I agree.
Excellent. I think this gives us a nice segue into our next topic, which is around the pricing and the value proposition of the Vision Pro. It's priced at $3,499. I don't even know what that is in DKK. It's probably quite a lot.
Times 10 or something. It's probably going to be the price in DKK.
How are people going to react to this? And Marina, I'd like to start with you.
I think especially if we stick to the subject of productivity, there's a lot of talk around, for this price point, this is going to be affordable, mainly to companies. And I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I mean, I agree with the fact that it's a very high price point, obviously, but at the same time, I don't see many companies investing this much money with the looming recession. You also don't see very large companies investing in Mac computers for the price point and also for interoperability and a lot of other issues. But I don't know where this is going to go. Perhaps it's going to be niched into specific businesses, or perhaps it's just going to be bought by people who work in more of a creative and media industry that actually can make use of the computing power of the headset. But that said, in more general terms, I think that if we look at the price point, $3,500, that's the same price point as the most expensive Mac computer that they have. And I think that with this statement, so this price is sort of like a statement that Apple is making, and this is not a VR headset, this is a computing device, and therefore it should be priced as a computing device, while other VR headsets are priced, anywhere between $100 and I think the most expensive one on the market right now is the Pimax Crystal, which is priced at $1,600. I think it's a statement more than anything.
I mean, I totally agree with everything you said. This is gonna be incredibly expensive for consumers, but it is priced the same way as a laptop. But then the question is it really a replacement for a laptop? Probably not right now. But we'll see. But I think for some businesses, this is going to be, this is an easily justifiable price tag in terms of businesses that want to use it for training their employees, so they don't have to like shut down huge factories in order to train their employees. They'll just create a virtual factory and train them there. Like shutting down factories like that quickly costs hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions. So for them, it'll be a grab in the pocket, I guess. But for consumers, it's a different story. But I think it's like that with every new tech, that the early adopters are gonna pay a premium to make a more affordable version down the road, probably. Yeah. I think there's also something in the name, the Vision Pro. I feel like that also implies a non-pro version at some point. And it's even if you go into apple.com and you want to find the hardware on their website, you can choose between the tabs at the top that says Watch, iPhone, iPad, and then Vision. It doesn't say Vision Pro, it's just Vision. And then you get the Vision Pro product. So I could easily see that they will launch a Vision non-pro at some point.
Yeah, it's a new product category, I guess.
Exactly.
Fantastic. And Marina, I know when we had a discussion around this initially, we were looking at how would people react or interact within that business setting if they're all using the Vision Pro. How does that work? Do you have anything to add to that?
I think that it's going to be interesting to see how human interaction changes when wearing this type of headset. The Vision Pro allows you to be in an immersive mode, but also in non-immersive mode. I think we have seen that a lot during the video. That was one of sort of the key points that they tried to make. You can see what's around you, and that has a lot of benefits. For example, it doesn't make you, or it makes you feel less sick. I guess the jury's still out on whether that will actually make you sick or not, but that's the assumption. And also it will make it easy for you to interact with people around you. And then I don't know how it's gonna work. You know, if me and you would be wearing this headset right now, would we be even looking at each other when we talk? I don't know.
No.
So I guess that's an interesting aspect.
Yeah. It could turn into a bit of a Ready Player One kind of situation. Everyone's working remotely and in these crazy worlds, right?
That's a pretty good comparison. I mean, Apple has put this screen on the outside of the Vision Pro, right? So you're supposed to be able to see who's on the inside. But it's still very, it still has a sort of a weird, Ready Player One-ish futuristic look to it, where you can only see part of it, and they still seem very distant because there's this kind of black overlay. So I think we're not totally there yet in terms of that technology. But it is going to be interesting to see how interactions are going to work, as you mentioned. Yeah,
and I think in terms of interactions, I was also listening to a podcast yesterday about it. Was an old podcast. I think it was back from June, where there was a journalist that was trying the Apple Vision Pro at WWDC, and he was talking about FaceTime, right? Because the idea is that FaceTime is going to work with kind of like an avatar from you that through the internal cameras of the headset, it's supposed to sort of like replicate your facial expression as you talk. And every time somebody says avatar, I just picture Mark Zuckerberg, with legs in VR, right? But I think the point he was trying to make is that he thought it would be such an uncanny valley to talk to this type of avatar. But he tried it out with somebody else, and he said that after the first few seconds, he actually felt like he was talking to a human, and the fact that he was seeing an avatar but he was talking to a human, obviously, but he was looking at a human, I guess. We can put it that way. And I think that's so interesting to, I can't wait to try it out and see if this is actually true. But we'll see.
It's interesting to see if these uncanny avatars, if they are uncanny, will kind of drive a change in technology to improve them, or a change in people's mindset, or both. Because it might also be that this is as good as it gets for now, and then we'll get used to it, and then everything's fine. I mean, you said it took him a few seconds, and then it's this is totally fine. It could be.
Be normalized quite quickly.
Yeah.
Oh wow. The next topic I'd love to go into is around integration and compatibility of, I suppose, the whole Apple ecosystem, right? How seamlessly do you think this could fit into what they already got? They've had some maybe issues before integrating, was it the iPad with the Mac or vice versa, but how could this happen?
So I mean, we just touched upon it briefly before, that the Vision Pro really fits well into Apple's ecosystem with the MacBook. You look at it and then you have your virtual screen and so on, and I mean there are more examples of this, and I think this is really Apple's major selling point here compared to their competitors, that they have an ecosystem of the iPhone, iPad, Mac, Watch, AirPods, HomePods, CarPlay, whatnot, and it just sits along those, like right in the, maybe not in the middle, maybe actually on one of the sides as something completely new, but still within that ecosystem, right? And I think we'll feel that both as consumers, because it will feel familiar to us, which is an advantage compared to, I don't know, Meta's Quest, which that lives in its own silo with no kind of, it doesn't have any friends in that ecosystem. But when we put on the Vision Pro, I think we'll see that it feels quite familiar to us, because we're used to the iPhone and iPad and so on. I think that goes both for the consumers but also as developers.
Okay.
It's the exact same technologies that we've been building for years. I mean, the interactions, the UI is different, but from a technical point of view, it's not really much of a difference.
Yeah.
And of course, where it kind of excels is the AR VR part. But Apple has been teaching us that with AR Kit for iPhone since, I don't know, was it 5 years ago they introduced that?
Yeah, no, totally. I think, as you say, ecosystem is very important for Apple, and I think it's been announced that they're going to make all iPad apps available on Apple Vision Pro, and that's actually going to be an opt-out feature. So if people do not want their apps to be sort of be translated to Apple Vision Pro, they have to opt out. And I think that's necessary. Interoperability is very important, especially within productivity, as we were talking about before. I want to start, hand off a document from one device to the other without even thinking about it. That's one of the powers of Apple. I think that's necessary. It would be really risky to ship a new platform without apps. There is also a lot around user expectation. You expect your apps to be there. But at the same time, it's also a huge risk, because even though it's true that in the end it's it's kind of like the same screen but in a spatial setting, I think not all apps will automatically work in the same seamless way they do on a flat screen. I think interactions are going to feel a little bit off, and not everything is gonna work perfectly, and that's a risk, right? Because if developers don't invest in actually adapting and they do not opt out, that might actually let down user expectations. And people they're gonna spend $3,500. They want jaw-dropping experiences no matter what, and they might not get them. So yeah, I think that's a little bit of a risk that Apple is taking, but I guess they don't have any other option at the moment. So.
No. You touched on it, Simon. I wanted to ask you around how this technology will impact iOS development. Will it really have, because you've had that technology for the last 5 years, the AR and XR, do you really think even when this is released, it won't change the landscape?
If it will change the landscape for us as iOS developers, that's a good question. I think we've already started seeing that change happen across Apple's other projects or platforms. Because what has really changed as an iOS developer over the past few years is that the technologies we've been using to build iOS apps for 10, 15 years now, now also using those technologies, we can now build apps for the Mac as well, for Apple TV, and now for the Vision Pro. So I don't think we've already seen that big change, that we can take our existing technologies and our existing knowledge and apply that to a new platform. Because Apple have been kind of porting their technologies to all of these platforms and are launching new platforms that are built upon these technologies. And this is just a new platform in that sense. So for us, that kind of wow factor happened when, the biggest one was probably a few years ago when we had the Mac Catalyst and our iOS apps could then run on the Mac. I think that changed the landscape as an iOS developer. That opened up new opportunities. And now we're just seeing yet another platform, and that's exciting, but it's not that big of a change in that sense, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
That all of our existing knowledge can just be applied to a brand new platform.
Yeah. I guess the standardization. I'm no expert in iOS development by any means, but I think that this standardization makes it easy to broaden to new product categories and new possibilities.
It's also exciting because it puts it's a huge advantage for users, because if developers really adopt these technologies and bring their apps to all of these platforms, it gives you a great flexibility as a user. You can choose if you want to use our app on the Mac, on the iPhone, on the iPad, maybe the TV is a stretch, but then on the Vision Pro when that's out. Like if we can build our apps for all of these platforms, then you as a user decide what works best for you. And I think that's great.
Marina, you are an expert within product. You said not in the iOS development, but I'm going to flip what I said to Simon to you. So from a product perspective, will that change how people consume the products or within that landscape as well?
I think it's a hard question to answer, because I don't think users necessarily have a product perspective, if you see what I mean.
Okay.
I think it changes the way companies will look at it. Companies that build product organizations in many different ways and that invest in products, it's gonna change in so far as you will have a lower investment to make your product available to more outlets, and that's of course a huge advantage. The standardization of coding languages within iOS also makes it faster to develop, and this of course is huge, because if you are building a product and you want to offer it to consumers, perhaps you cannot invest on all platforms at the same time, and then you will always start investing in the one that yields the highest values and that allows you to reach more customers. So I think in that sense it will definitely make a difference.
Amazing. I suppose on to our penultimate topic in that sense is looking at future trends in innovation. It's going to be a bit of speculation on this one because it's not even been released yet. But I suppose what future developments and innovations can we expect with the Vision Pro? I know in our preparation for this we talked about the iPhone, the original, how much it's changed now to what we've got in the 15, right? So where do you feel like it could go?
I think in the short term there are two things that people have been complaining about when it comes to the Vision Pro, and the first one is the battery. So to keep the headset lighter, the battery has been removed from the headset, and it's actually a portable battery, but it's also, you need to have the headset plugged into the battery for it to work. There is no residual battery in it. And this, of course, it's not great, because if it unplugs, it will turn off, right? Like a TV, not like a laptop, but like a TV. It needs electricity to run. If your battery is out, you can't use it. It's also, you'll have a cord with a battery attached to yourself at all times. If you put it down on the table and you stand up, it will fall down. Which is not amazing. So I think that definitely is something to look into for Apple, and then also relate the weight. Even though the battery has been removed, people have been complaining about the fact that the headset is heavy, and especially if we look at a use case of productivity and entertainment, you normally try to go at least for an hour if you want to watch an episode or work on a task or be in a meeting. That makes it difficult if the headset is heavy, but hey, maybe we all just need stronger necks. Coming soon on Apple Fitness Plus, neck workouts, so that you can wear your headset. But yeah.
Love that. Got limb-based gaming and
yes.
The battery is really a step backwards, isn't it? Because like it's nice that you can just, if you need to use the headset for a longer period, you can just have multiple batteries and swap them out. I'm sure they're not going to be cheap, but it is a benefit of having the battery. But just a few years ago, Apple launched the AirPods, and we got rid of one of our cables, right? Everyone was running around with a cable from their ears down to the pocket connected to the phone. And now Apple is saying, yeah, that was super nice. How about you have a new cable? Okay, Apple.
But the headphones cable is coming back. I don't know if you've seen, celebrities are all going old school with all earbuds. How do you even call those? Yeah, not AirPods, earbuds. So maybe the cables are back.
So are they then using the old earbuds, or are they having the new AirPods and then just?
No. They're going back to the old ones. You know, yeah.
I don't think that's for me. That's okay. Anyways, but I think like in terms of the future, that's really it's difficult, and I'm sure Apple has some plans that they haven't told us about. But I'm also pretty sure that those plans can change. Yeah, I don't know. It's all guesswork right now. But I'm trying to compare it to the watch, which had a quite turbulent launch, where it seemed like Apple wanted to do this and that, and they were focusing on maybe it's a health device, or maybe it's just for notifications, or maybe it's a jewelry. And I feel like Apple is still focusing on a few different things here. Like, it is a health device, is it a productivity, is it a media consumption device? I think they'll just need to throw it out into the market and see kind of what sticks, and then adapt. So predicting about the future is really, really difficult until we have it in our hands.
And has there been a release date for next year now?
Early 24 or something?
Yeah, I think I've been talking about March, April, but I don't think there is a specific date. No. But I might be wrong.
Fantastic. And I suppose our last topic is looking at how competitors will react to all of this. There's obviously a lot of headsets within the market, the VR kind. They aren't always the first to enter the market, Apple, but when they do, they do typically do it right. So, I mean, I'd love to get your thoughts on how you think they could react. And I believe you were telling us before that somebody already has released a new product.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a direct reaction or something that just had in the back catalog and threw it out now. But just yesterday, Meta launched their Quest 3, which I think was like a $500 headset. So it's a completely different price category, right? But it's also completely different hardware. I mean, it seems good, but comparing it to the Vision Pro is a bit difficult.
Yes.
Because that's just something else, right? But I feel like that's the Meta's main advantage right now. That's the price. Like it's quite affordable. But I'm not sure it's a direct reaction to the Vision Pro. But
I agree, and I think that the ecosystem that Apple plays in is very different than the other competitors. I think that the only company that could credibly launch a headset that covers so many different use cases is probably Microsoft. But I don't see this happening anytime soon. I think Microsoft has been targeting the same verticals that Apple is trying to target right now. You know, you have gaming, you have health, you have productivity, not so much entertainment maybe, but all the other areas. And but however, they've sort of gone into this from a very different perspective. They're a software company to begin with. They have grown by acquiring other companies, and that obviously makes it less agile, and it's less easy for Microsoft to actually end up creating a computing device that would be the same as the Apple Vision Pro. At least that's my opinion. I'm sure that many people will disagree with me, but so I think for the time being, if we will see a reaction in the market, it will be still very or in a more niched fashion than sort of in this broad way like Apple is doing. And I think that probably if we will have this conversation in like a year and a half or 2 years, the answer will be much more clear cut, because I think Apple will take a direction, will invest in that direction, and so it will be clear where the market, or more than the market, this space is going.
You mentioned Microsoft, but wouldn't it be natural for Google also to kind of step into this game. I mean, they did with the Google glasses years ago. They have the Android ecosystem, so they could do something similar, right?
Agree. I think if we look at the entire market, yes. I was mostly focusing on companies that are already present in this space, products in the market. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree. They could do it if they wanted to. Totally.
I feel like they must be working on something like, just feels like if Apple is doing a headset that kind of pairs well with your iPhone, then Google should do something similar that pairs well with your Android device.
Yeah.
But I think they've also kind of, burnt their fingers years ago with that glass project.
Yeah.
That kind of flopped.
If anybody who's working at Google knows something, please call us.
Yes.
And we won't tell. We promise.
Yeah.
You made a good point as well, Marina. Maybe it'd be good when the Vision Pro is out in there to reconvene, get everyone here. I know Christian was supposed to be with us today, so it would be great to get him involved as well. And then have a chat about, now we've got our hands on it properly, everything's been released, so it's definitely something to look forward to.
Sure.
For sure.
Can we do one where we don't meet up in Copenhagen then, but we just sit with a headset,
Ooh,
all of us, and then
I like that.
record the podcast.
I like that. And and then we just sort of screen record everything from our headsets.
Exactly.
And we put it
With
together.
our avatars.
I love it.
You can stay in sunny Italy.
Yes.
You don't have to travel to this bad weather.
Yeah.
That means I'd have to stay in the UK, which is not okay.
Okay.
Okay. We can meet up here. So.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think for today we'll leave it there. This has been the Evolution Exchange podcast. Really want to take this opportunity to thank both Marina and Simon for coming down, providing their insights, and working on creating some fantastic questions as well. Also, thank you. Big shout out to Shape for hosting us once again. It's always a pleasure to come here, sit on the sofa and ask some great questions with some great individuals. So thank you for that. And thank you guys for listening. If you'd like to get involved in one of our podcasts, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or via email at sam.williamson@evolution-nordics.com. See you next time. Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.